Action continues here in Columbus, Ohio, as we continue the opening day of competition for the Arnold Strong Woman and Strongman Classics. Thanks for being with us, everybody. The men are set to take the floor next for event number one, the Elephant Bar Deadlift. I'm Sean Woodland with Dr. Bill Crawford and Jerry Pritchett. We're going to have Lucy Underdown up here in just a second, who just won this event for the women. And then Rob Kearney will be joining us in a little bit as well. And I don't know how we're going to top what just happened with the women, but there are certainly some men out here who can put on a fantastic show for the packed house here.
Well, half the women pulled over 600 pounds. I mean, 4 years ago, that was the record. How many guys are going to pull close to 1,000? I guess that's what we have to ask. The bar is high.
Yes.
And how much we're going to see from them. I'm a little bit of exhausted from yelling for that one, but we're getting it back. It's going to really charge back up.
Oh yeah, as soon as these guys get going, I mean, they got a lot to live up to after the women, because that was a very impressive field of deadlifters for the women. But we have some big deadlifters before the men coming here too, so I think we'll have a lot of these guys over 900 and several of them pushing for 1,000 or more.
Now let's take a look at the men who will be on the floor here. And if you were with us earlier, we talked about just how loaded this field is. You have the last 5 champions here. Mitch Hooper is your defending champion. Hathor won 3, and then Martins Lietzi's also won 1. And then you have other men who can pull some big weight here in this opening event. Event number 1 is the Elephant Bar Deadlift. Each athlete will have 3 attempts. The weight will only go up on the bar. They'll have 30 seconds to make as many attempts as they need to within the time frame. But let's talk about keys here on this implement.
Well, I mean, we talked about it before. What you need to do is you need to control that shake out of the bar, that flex in the bar. And the next thing you have to do is finish the lift. I think if you get it to your knees, that's your goal. Then it stops moving so much. And there's some other details we talked about, like how much where the bar flexes. But you got to control that flex and sit back on it. If you don't, then there's a big problem. And then finish the lift once you get it to your knees.
Yeah, most of these guys have all deadlifted on this bar. I think only 2 haven't. So these guys know what they're going after. Here's where they got to be smart on what they open with and their attempts, and watching what the other guys do. There's some strategy that comes in there. And really listening to your body so you get the most out, get your maximum points going into that frame.
Yep, that's true. I mean, it's amazing to me also how we're just throwing around like, oh, guys lift 1,000 pounds. So put it in perspective, in 2011, Zadrunas pulled the world's record in the strongman deadlift with 968. Okay? And now just, 12, 13 years later, a whole bunch of guys are going to pull 1,000.
Yeah.
Maxime Boudreau at 776 pounds. He will be the first man out.
This is an event that Max has got to try to get as many points as he can. He knows this isn't his best event. He's got to salvage some points, and then he's going to kind of move on from
352 kilos, and right off the bat, Boudreau is going to call it.
High lat.
Hopefully that's just a strain. Well, definitely not where you want to start off here.
Nope.
Immediately grabbed for his side there after the setup.
Yeah, he probably felt a little tug in the lat. Hopefully it was just a strain and he caught it early enough and it's not a pull. Here's another thing, you got to be, really smart on your warm-ups in the back, and then when you're coming out for your first attempt, because you want this first attempt to be kind of warm-up, but still in range, a striking distance on, get as many points as you can in case something happens on that second.
Mateusz Kierliszkowski is scheduled to be the next man out. He'll be opening at 816 pounds. It's 370 kilos for him in an event that, every year we talk about it, he's going to have to do some damage control here, because we know what he is capable of after the deadlift. And speaking of what you're capable of, Lucy Underdown joining us now here on the desk, that was an absolutely incredible performance. You won the event with just 2 lifts. What was it like out there with this environment around you?
Oh, well, the crowd was absolutely incredible, honestly. Like they were so loud when I was warming up. I was using that as a bit of inspiration to get into it and get psyched up for the lift, because they were just so loud, and they're definitely here to. They're not just here to watch the men anymore. They are here to watch us all, and it's just incredible to have that and to feel that that behind you. It's just amazing.
It's your first appearance on this stage.
Yeah.
How did you manage the nerves that I'm sure you were feeling before you stepped out on the competition floor?
I've been really nervous all morning. Honestly, I haven't. I had a little cry this morning, but luckily I've got good people behind me, and I just have to. Once I start lifting, I feel fine. It's the build up to the first lift that always gets me. Once I've done the first lift, it looks really good as well.
When did you know you had it?
Yeah. I knew that with the 280, I knew that I had that one like straight away. The 300 wasn't as easy as I would have liked it to have been, but it's not as smooth as some of my other lifts that I've done. But I knew that I still had a lot more kilos left in me, to be honest. But I was just here to do what I needed to do today.
And then you had Arnold hold your hand up over
what
your
was that
head.
like?
That was incredible. Honestly, I was so starstruck. I was just open mouth like, oh my God.
That was a great moment.
Incredible.
Is this really happening?
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I've been buzzing to meet him all weekend. So
after feeling that bar now, Iraq's a little different.
Yeah.
What do you think you could have done on that?
I honestly think that 700 pounds would have been there on the, like today if I needed it.
Yeah.
I wasn't really aiming for 700 pounds today, just because this is the first event. We've got a whole weekend of competition. So, but I honestly think 700 pounds would have been there. I know that on a normal bar I've got I can do a lot more than that. So I actually really enjoyed pulling on that, to be fair. There is a slightly different breaking point. I think once the whip's taken out, you kind of feel the weight twice. I feel like I feel it on the floor and then halfway up.
It's a bar you got to be patient on.
Yes,
yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I'd be really curious to see you train on something similar to see what you could do next year on it.
Yes, yeah, definitely, because I didn't really have anything similar.
Here's Mateusz Kieliszkowski at 816 pounds.
That was a great lift.
And that is good for the Polish Titan.
I was talking to guys in the back a minute ago, and they were saying that Mateusz was looking really good on his warm-ups.
Yeah.
So I think he's looking good. He's feeling better, more confident than last year. Last year he had a sciatic that was bothering him, and that's really hard to compete through.
Yeah, so getting an actual implement to train on to feel that flex, because you're really fighting that,
Yeah, definitely. I think the UK doesn't. I don't know anyone really in the UK that has an elephant bar. So we have the Kratos bars, so they're about 10 foot long, but they're still a little bit different. The whip hits are differently on them as well. So I think I definitely need to get my hands on one and really go for it.
Pull over 700.
This is Oskar Zieliszkowski making his opening attempt also
or 320
at 816.
You pull over 70 easily on that bar.
Yeah.
370 kilos here.
Even more with some training on it.
Yeah, definitely.
Just getting familiar with that.
It is just getting familiar with that lift.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That is good for Oskar.
You can see with Oskar there, see how like the crown pops and then the weights kind of jiggle a little bit, and that can kind of pull you forward on your toes when it does that.
What do you do to compensate for that? Is it just a further lean back? Or?
Lean back, but it's just being patient. So
Yeah.
you can't pull on it too hard, because you pull it too hard, you're not going to be ready for it. It's just going to yank you forward.
I think that's what we saw with Inez. I think she absolutely could have lifted the 600 pounds. I think she went for, but she pulls it so fast off the floor that whip really does affect your lift. So it really does. You just got to be patient. It does suit a slower puller from the floor.
And I mentioned earlier, I used the word wedge, and people kind of laugh when I say that, but you just want to wedge yourself between the bar and the ground.
Yeah, definitely.
And then build that tension.
Yeah.
And especially for this bar.
It's a tough thing to do, especially if you're a really good deadlifter, but you have to kind of back down your deadlift a little bit off the ground to be patient, just push it, and then really lay into it once it's crowned and moving.
Because that flex is real.
It is. It is really whippy.
Well, Tom Evans is getting set to come out for his opening attempt at 826 pounds, making a 10-pound jump, going up to 75 kilos. Lucy, with one event remaining in the day now, what do you do to get ready for that frame carry?
So just going to have a little chill out now for an hour or so, and then I'll start warming up again and just get into my own little headspace. And I'm just here to enjoy myself and just see how I get on. And I really want to prove a point and have a good showing this weekend. So I just want to be here, enjoy myself, and then whatever happens, happens. So yeah, I think once I've had a warm up, I'll have a little run with a frame, and we'll just go from there.
I don't know how you can do much better than you just did with an event win. You're 1 for 1 here at the Arnold. It's an impressive performance.
Well, not just an event win, but was that also the world record elephant bar?
That was the elephant bar record.
Yeah, so there you go.
But with a good frame carry, you're potentially going in tomorrow with a big lead.
Yes, that would be ideal. If I can get a good showing on the frame carry, I think that will really help me out tomorrow. I've got the dumbbell press tomorrow is not one of my strongest events, and I know that. Yeah. And I think so. I need to be on form for the other ones to make sure that I'm going to have a good finish at the end.
Yeah, so get maximum points where you can.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly the game plan this weekend.
Well, Lucy, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. We'll let you get to your recovery, and good luck the rest of the way. I was impressive to watch.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank
that
you.
was fantastic. Thank you for that moment.
And now Tom Evans up first here. And that is no problem. 375 kilos, 826 pounds.
Congratulations.
Big thanks to Lucy Underdown again for taking the time to do that. First appearance at the Arnold, event win, and a world record. As we are now through 4 men to make their opening lifts. Taking another look at Tom Evans. No problem whatsoever. We will get reset now for our next lifter. As we are joined at the desk by our good friend Rob Kearney. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are we all doing?
Good. It's a little weird to not see you out there doing that patented deadlift hitch of yours.
It feels weird to not be doing it this weekend, but it's good to be on this side supporting all the athletes and seeing such a great turnout for the Strongman Classic yet again.
I can't believe this crowd. I mean, every year we come back and say, wow, it's packed. Wow, it's packed. And Dr. Bill and I were just sitting here again, just marveling at the attendance here. I mean, what does this mean for the sport?
It's really just a testament to see how much the sport is growing over the past few years. To see crowds of thousands of fans coming in year after year, it's really just exciting to see the sport growing so much in such a really short amount of time, to see the support that these athletes get, because as we all know, hearing that crowd behind you when you're going for a max deadlift, that's a level of energy you really don't experience anywhere else.
Yeah. Take a look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I mean, they had to add seats in this place, and we talked about them adding more at the top. They definitely pushed it forward here too. I mean, the fans are right on top of the action here.
When for the women's deadlift, they didn't need seats; they were all on their feet.
Yeah,
standing room only, not a bad place to be.
Yeah.
No. Such energy, it's got to just feed an athlete.
Yeah, it's really great. Last year, I was fortunate enough to do this event and hit a pretty big deadlift, and when you hear that crowd roaring for you as that bar's coming off the ground, it really kicks into that next gear. I know Jerry's been there.
It raises your level as an athlete so much. Yeah, lifts you didn't know you were capable of, happen with ease.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, Alexei Novikov is going to be the next man out. He's going to open at 846. That's 384 kilos.
So what are your anticipations about this event today for the men?
Looking at this event, I think it's really exciting. 9 out of the 11 athletes have done this event before. Only 2 haven't. And deadlifting on this bar is a different animal than a regular deadlift bar. So I think we're going to see those guys that have that experience on this deadlift bar use that to their advantage. But I will say, it's exciting to have Thor back in the lineup this year, the world record holder on this event, with a lot of guys that I think are still going to push that envelope to some pretty big deadlifts. You guys got guys like Evan Singleton, Bobby Thompson, Mitch Hooper, all guys here that can pull big deadlifts. So I think we're going to see a pretty competitive race up at the top.
Awesome.
$8.46 for Novikov is good.
That's a good lift for him.
He's somebody that plays to this bar so well. You know, he's the world record holder in the 18-inch deadlift, got that at World's Strongest Man a few years ago, and you can see him really pull that slack out of the bar and be patient off the floor. And that's something that really plays into his strengths on this bar. You know, with it being so long and so whippy, if you pull too fast, it's going to pull you out of position pretty quick. But really being able to be patient when you get that whip off that bar and you feel that flex, he really kind of stays in his technique and is really patient with that bar, and that makes a great lift for him.
Yeah, we were talking about that all day. It's you can tell it just pulls people forward and starts to shake. It might even, a couple of people even kind of tilted, a couple of women kind of tilted left and right. He just made that lift perfectly. That was great.
That's bar. You have to be patient off the floor. You have to almost back down your deadlift a little bit for off the floor, because like we will watch Oscar go a minute ago. He laid into it pretty hard, and it crowns and pops, and then it gets that shake. And if you're not prepared for it and you're not back, that shake will just pull you forward, and you're done.
You know, it's funny. You know, we're talking about all the possible 1,000-pound deadlifts and records and all this stuff. I savor the those jockeying for points in the middle. That's always something that I really focus on that too, because in the end, those points are the points that might actually buoy somebody up into first or second.
Absolutely, and the crazy thing is those middle kind of placing deadlifts are still going to be in the low to mid 900-pound range.
Yeah, there's still going to be huge deadlifts, and there's going to be guys like Bobby Thompson that maybe we're not looking at of the overall, but he's going to take points away from a guy that is battling for overall.
Oh,
Evan Singleton.
He still got time. He'll get it.
Didn't get credit for that one, but it looks so easy that he should be able to replicate that lift with no problem here as he gets himself
He gets 2
locked in.
warm-ups.
And that's good too. So it's a 2-rep max.
He's like, oh well.
Evan is one of those guys I'll be interested to see how he progresses in this event. He is such a excitable lifter. He has so much great energy. But he is one of those people that with their deadlift typically relies off of that power and speed off the floor. So it's going to be interesting to see how he reacts with this bar when the weight starts getting heavy, right? 851 pounds. But when that weight really starts pushing some limits, is this technique going to affect him in a negative way?
When you refer to being patient, what exactly does that mean? What are you looking for from a lift when you can tell if someone's doing
so kind
it
of
or
like
not?
what Rob's touching on there. So Evan is a very explosive. He likes to yank that bar off the floor, which on a regular bar, it kind of suits him, a regular deadlift bar. This, it won't suit him. It will hurt him on this one. So unless he adjusts for that and kind of backs that down. So you really want to, like Dr. Bill's like wedge, you want to get really tight and push that weight off the floor and be patient. And once the plates are off the floor, then you can really lay into it. So you almost got like 2 speeds. You kind of lay into it enough to get it off the floor and then really lay into it to finish it. You can't start it really hard, because you can watch the guys that won. Like if you watch Oscar's, he laid into it hard, it crowned, and then once that last plate came off, it got a shake. And when it does that, it will yank you on your toes, and then you're out of the lift. You're not finishing it.
Mateusz Kieliszkowski coming out for his second of 3 attempts. He's also going for
This will be big for him.
Yeah, 856 actually. He's going to jump it up 5 pounds from where Singleton was, so 388 kilos. What would be an ideal placement for him in this event?
He's got his. I mean, obviously, you want to win it, but
right.
But he's
we
got
know that's not going to happen.
He's got to get as many points as he can, because he's potentially going to win frame. So he can't be last, which he's not going to be the last. But as many points as he can salvage closer to that at least middle of the pack will help him. That way he's not such a deficit when we go in that last event tomorrow.
And a big thing here too is making sure he's playing it smart. He doesn't want to use too much energy on an event he knows he's not going to win. Yeah. Where we have 4 more big events coming up.
Yeah.
There we go.
And there it is, 856.
That's great.
It's good for Mateusz Kieliszkowski.
Really good with it.
Very nice. He has some he's definitely improved.
Yeah, and I think the coolest thing in talking to him in the back is how excited he is to be back here. You can just feel his excitement, being back on this stage. But going back to it, with 4 big events, and most of which he can do very well in this weekend, like Jerry alluded to, he can win the frame coming up later today. And You know, we know he's a great stone lifter, and he has a lot of great things in his arsenal for this competition. Not losing too much energy on this lift is going to be huge to carry him throughout the weekend.
Yeah. This is his 8th appearance here at the Arnold Strongman Classic. His best finish was 2nd. That was last year.
And you know what last year did for him is help build his confidence again. I mean, you can see it in his eyes this year. He's finally got his confidence back. He's feeling better. He's not having little issues like he was having with sciatic and dealing with injuries and, you know, kind of having that. He had so many bad injuries. It started affecting you. You know, you got to put them out of your mind, but it's hard to do. It's hard to learn to trust your body again.
So this is Oscar, and he was last year's amateur champion. That's how he got his punched his ticket to come up on the big stage.
If you watch his last one, he laid into it really hard off the ground, and it crowned and then it shook. So we'll see if he adjusts in for this one.
Not able to quite get past that sticking point. It's going to be it for Oscar.
You can see that bar get away from it a little bit too.
That
you know,
floated.
with that deadlift, you really want to keep it tight against the shins, keep that bar really tight, making sure we're staying close to the body. Once he got it off the floor, you could see it floating away from him. Once, I mean, 856 pounds, if it's, you know, an inch or so out of the groove of where it needs to be, that's going to be a tough way to go about that. And I like that he was smart. He didn't give it a second attempt. You know, kind of calling it right there, give it one good pull, and realize, you know what, it's not going to go if I try it again. Let's move on to the next event.
We're through 6 of the 11 men here.
Yeah, that's the other thing when you get, you know, heavier for your top end. You know, if you're not really tight at the bottom and get that push off, like him, he pulled on it and he pulled the crown. Well, all I did was rose his hips, and then he's not in a position to go any further with it.
Right. I mean, when does it ever benefit you on a deadlift to yank the bar off the floor? I mean, there might be, you know, maybe a certain style with a stiff bar.
Yeah, you know, if we're doing an axle deadlift or a stiff bar deadlift, having kind of that fast pull off the floor, but even our standard deadlift bars have a good amount of whip.
Yeah.
It really is like this elephant bar is just such a different style of deadlift just because of the way it's built in typical road fitness fashion.
Now, does it have an
collars.
advantage? Do you think there's an advantage
There's no
to
advantage
this
to
bar?
this bar. This bar gets a misconception that it's an easier deadlift. This is not an easier deadlift.
That's why I asked that question, because I hear people say that all the time, like, oh, I want one of those so I can pull more weight. And I'm like, well, you might not want that bar.
No.
Well, I think there's you know, there's a lot of bars that are trying to imitate what the elephant bar is. You know, there are a lot of longer deadlift bars that are coming out onto the market, but they are standard deadlift bar width. The elephant bar is a thicker bar, and it does just whip much differently. As somebody who has a pretty good deadlift myself, this event has always been tough for me because I also kind of lean into a faster pull off the floor, seeing as my weak point is at mid-knee.
And here is Martins Litis, his first competition since the 2022 Rogue Invitational. He is a champion of this event from 2022, and he is going to open at 861 pounds, 390 kilos for the Dragon.
Talk about a crowd favorite. I mean, just the roar of the crowd behind us with Martin stepping up. And I think that's one of the most exciting things about this year, too, is the return of the Dragon and the return of Hafthor Bjornsson.
Yeah, they were really excited to see both of these guys back. Always crowd favorites.
First attempt for Litis.
Martin's is a very methodical lifter. He breaks down every event, every lift.
I was just about to say, you know, you look at the contrast between a lifter like Martins, who's so cerebral, and then a lifter like Evan Singleton, who lifts with emotion.
And that is good for the Dragon. Welcome back, Martins.
Great first lift for him.
That was.
Nice way to build some confidence back onto the competition floor as well.
That is, yeah.
And Martins is a lifter that he's hard to judge what he's going to do today because every lift's going to look about the same because he's going to put in enough effort because he's so methodical to just get that lift.
You're one to talk.
I just say, exactly.
I remember we watched him at Santa Monica, and you know, 750, 950, it looked the same.
Yeah.
Same bar speed, everything.
Attempt number one good for Lichis at 861.
An exciting thing about that deadlift was seeing how he accelerated as he got further into the pull. You know, I think you see a lot of guys, they start to slow out near that lockout position, but once that bar hit that knees for Martins, he actually sped up the speed of that bar. So that's a great sign for him with the next few attempts coming up.
Well, while we get ready for Alexei Novikov to come out, I just want to update you on a couple things. We saw Maxime Boudreau leave the floor, grab for his lat. That is officially a lat injury. He has not withdrawn yet. And Victoria Long, that is also a hamstring injury, and she has not withdrawn yet either. We'll keep an eye on that, but that's the official word on the injuries to those two athletes. As Alexei Novikov is sizing up 866 pounds, 393 kilos.
You know, as a fan, not just as someone who's, you know, talking about this, you want to see huge deadlifts, but on the same side, it does open up that idea that, you know, you start off pretty fast.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. You know, it's cool to start with deadlift because that's potentially you can see your best chance for your biggest deadlifts, but you run the risk because everybody comes in dialed up to go after big lifts, and that, you know, it happens. Unfortunately, we hate to see it.
I think all of us know how much it taxes us too when we max out our deadlift. You know, and to think this is the first of 5 events over the course of 2 days, it's not an easy thing to train for and prepare for.
Well, that was going to be my question. So given how much of a toll that max effort takes on you, how often do you train that?
Going into a show like this, you would see most athletes train sub-maximally, but obviously peaking into the show, which you're still lifting on occasion from 90 to 95% on a regular basis, really building that level of strength to come out here and pull out a big deadlift. So trying to make sure you're recovering properly, letting your central nervous system kind of recuperate in between big sessions. It's not an easy thing to manage because not only is the deadlift unbelievably heavy this weekend, so are the other 4 events that we have to go through. So really trying to manage that fatigue and really make sure that we're prioritizing the recovery in between each session is paramount to make sure that we get on the stage and athletes have a good performance.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about the CNS during the women's event, and I think that's something we really don't talk about. We always talk about, you know, muscle power and all this, you know, pure strength and stuff. I really think that, you know, the deadlift, because speed is strength, and having your CNS over a period of time trained up to where you can actually recover and come back and recover and come back.
We're not just training just to get stronger. You have to condition your CNS to be able to take this. So you can do this, go in the frame, come back tomorrow. You know, you have to condition that so that you train heavy every week to do this.
Well, I would actually go to say Jerry's probably one of the best to do it. You know, in the peak of his career, I remember seeing videos of his deadlift and, you know, every single week just putting more weight on the bar and consistently pulling over 900 pounds on a regular basis in training. You know, it's not an easy thing to get to the point in your career where you can do that.
Specs for the elephant bar on your screen there in the lower left-hand part of the screen, in case anybody is wondering, you know, the measurements on that, because we've obviously been talking a lot about the differences between that implement and your regular barbell that you might use during training.
I think also too, nerd alert. So there's points of carbon inside the steel, right? So they've Rogue went through a series of tests, not just for the diameter of the bar, but also for the points of carbon in the steel to allow for flex, to give you strength, because, you know, that flexibility actually comes at a cost. You don't want to have it where the bar is deformed. You want to have it to come back, but it can't be too stiff.
And now Alexei Novikov is ready for his second of 3 attempts. 866 pounds, 393 kilos.
Good.
And that is good for Alexei.
Nice lift.
Yeah, like Rob was saying, in his first lift, he utilizes that whip so well, that crown. You know, he pulls, he's patient on it, and then he just sits back and lays into it. And in that narrow stance, really, he gets as much out of that crown as he can.
And it looked like his first lift.
Yep, looked good.
I mean, the other thing about him too, he's always just got that extra deep down gear. A lot of guys do, but he just seems to have like an extra deep down gear sometimes.
Alexei Novikov, who had a little bit of a delay there. There was a language issue as far as what the weight on the bar was, and they got that sorted. That was why we had that little bit of a delay there before Alexi lifted, but he was able to get through it. He's 2 attempts in. He's got 1 remaining. Tom Evans will be the next man out. 876 pounds for him, 397 kilos.
Yeah, last year was his debut at the Arnold, and he looked great. Really strong finish.
Standings on the left side of your screen as we are through now 7 men to open up with Bjornsson, Thompson, Hooper, and Stoltman yet to get out on the floor.
So we're easing our way up to the 900-pound mark.
And still 4 guys haven't even had their first attempt yet. It's unbelievable.
Tom's a strength coach at University of Delaware. Oh!
Wow.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow.
Good recovery.
That is unbelievable.
That was a great fight.
Did that bar come back
Tom
down?
Evans.
It definitely, yeah.
He
Well, you
recovered
see where
the
it
bar.
shook. It pulled him forward, but he good recovery. He kept his hips in it.
He's a strong fella. That was pretty amazing, actually.
That's what we call a stubborn deadlift.
Yes. It's a fighter.
I can't imagine anything at that weight not being stubborn.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Clean up.
Let's take one more look at Tom Evans. We had a little bit of a nosebleed there. Not uncommon.
Also looked to get stuck on his neoprene shorts a little bit once he got it over the knees.
Definitely didn't help him.
That bar definitely went back down.
And you know, it's little things like that that a lot of people forget of how big of an impact they play on your deadlift. You know, something as simple as the bar getting stuck on his shorts, trying to lock out. You know, at 876 pounds, anything working against you is a really big thing.
Yeah, those should be rolled up a few inches, be out of the bar path.
It's one of the reasons why I always wore spandex when I competed. Easy to make the bar slide up. It wasn't going to get stuck on anything.
Yeah, the neoprene's too much.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, you know, they're typically 1/4 inch thick.
Yeah.
So it sticks out just enough over the thigh where, you know, we talked about it earlier with Oscar's lift. You want to really be able to keep that bar close to your body as you're performing this lift. And, you know, when you get that bar over the knees, trying to keep it tight to the thighs to get into that lockout position. And as we saw there, once you got it over the knees, there's that little lip of the neoprene shorts that the bar got stuck on, and that's going to work against you in that lockout.
We're talking about the neurologic system. He just pretty much muscled that one out.
Yeah.
That was a muscle
Well,
up.
as a result, he's going to pass on his 3rd lift. Tom Evans will wind up with 876 pounds.
Yeah, that one probably hurt a little bit. Had to recover on that one.
Wow. But he got it.
Hey, got it. Good points.
Yeah.
Good points. Great points.
Looks like we're going to get reset here for Mateusz Kieliszkowski, who's going to come out for his 3rd and final lift at 886 pounds. It's 402 kilos.
This would be absolutely massive for Mateusz.
It really would.
This would be huge points for him.
I don't think there's a person here just not yearning for him to pull this weight.
Absolutely.
Well,
let's see.
We always talk about damage control here, and why that's important is because he can hit home runs. He's been in 36 events here at the Arnold Strongman Classic. He's won 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
And these other 4 events are great events for him.
Yeah, it lines up great for him for the rest of the day, the rest of the weekend.
This lift right here is another make or break moment for Mateusz here at the Arnold. You know, I think in years past we've seen him take 1st or 2nd in nearly every single event, but finish near the bottom of the pack in the deadlift, and that costs him the overall placing in a contest.
2020 did just that. He placed 1st in 4 of the 5 events.
Exactly. You know, and with the level of athlete that we have at these competitions now, consistency across all events is the only way to get onto that podium. So this is really a big moment for Mateusz to come in, and if he can do this lift, it's going to put a lot of pressure on the other athletes, I think, where they thought they might have a little bit more room.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He's already made 816 and 856. He's making a 30-pound jump
Let's
from
see
his
it.
last successful lift.
Come on now. I would really love to see this lift come up.
This crowd is on the edge of their seats.
This
Come
would
on
be
now.
amazing.
They got to be standing up soon.
Come on, you need this. Let's go.
That's the other thing. This crowd is educated. These folks know what they're watching.
They know how much this means to him right now.
Absolutely.
886 from Mateusz Kieliszkowski to close out event number 1.
Come on, Mateusz.
Come on.
Get it. Okay.
And not able to get it. So Mateusz Kieliszkowski,
Nailed down.
856.
But an improvement.
He's still in a better spot than he's been in years past.
Yes.
Very true.
You know, so that's not the end of the world. You know.
And if you look at the leaderboard this year, we have 11 athletes versus the typical 10.
Yeah.
Right? That's an extra point up for grabs in every single event as we go throughout the weekend.
Yeah.
Right? And those points add up, especially for a guy that typically, you know, places so high in every event. I mean, the next event we have today is where he has the world record.
Yeah.
You know, so it's I think may not be the outcome he had wanted, but he can't be upset with that considering who was out before him and where it sets him up for the rest of the weekend.
Well, we were talking too, is, you know, we have a big, deep field, and so, you know, guys are going to put a lot of points between each other in some of these events. So there might be some surprising developments. That's the great part about all of this. We'll get, you know, someone who's maybe supposed to win an event or place higher, and then they don't quite pull it off, and you may get some other guys in between and make some other points.
Well, you're potentially going to have some, you know, guys that are good deadlifters that take some points away here, but not so good on frame or other events, you know, so.
Tom Stoltman is making his first appearance here in this event, 901 pounds. He's going to be the first of 3 men to lift this, as Evan Singleton and Alexei Novikov also looking to hit 901 pounds after Stoltman. It's the opening lift for Tom.
Yeah, Tom's deadlift training's been going pretty good from what we've been seeing. So,
and Tom's pretty consistent, you know, good deadlifter, you know, so.
Yeah, we never,
see him,
we never see him go up and down really on his deadlift performance.
And that is good.
Nice. He's kind of registering in his head that he's, you know, got a, you know, that flex kind of surprised him a little bit,
yeah,
it looks like.
Pulled him forward just a little bit, but he recovered on it really well. He, you know, dropped 2 tips back and still finished it really well, so.
Just adds another layer of difficulty to this barbell, because not only do you have to get ready to deadlift 901 pounds, you have to think of the intricacies of like, okay, when is this whip going to kick in? When is this flex going to come off when is this, you know, the flex of the bar going to come off the floor? So playing into all those things while you're doing this lift isn't easy.
Yeah,
Well, from that angle, it's a pretty good deadlift, yeah. Pretty good pull. That's what Terry always talked about. You know, the thing about the Arnold, they make the events a little bit bigger, a little bit scarier.
Always.
You know, a little more, you know, visually appealing, in that it's something that you know that you're looking at something a little bit harder.
Yep.
Well, the T-Rex is back out. Evan Singleton for his second lift, making a 50-pound jump and getting slapped in the back.
Yeah, he got a Ric Flair chop on that
Whatever
one.
it takes, that is going to leave a mark. And Singleton lifts that, no problem.
Great pull.
Wow.
I think Evan might be a crowd favorite here this weekend, just with the intensity that he brings out onto the floor.
He does.
Was a little bit slow in the lockout, though.
Yeah, a
and
little bit.
That's pretty typical of Evan's deadlift. He's always really fast off the floor, confident through that knee. That lockout tends to give him a little bit of trouble. So interested to see where he goes from here for his third attempt.
Well, very rarely do we show you the replay of what happened before the deadlift, but we're going to take one more look. Just look at the force at which this slap lands on Evan Singleton's back.
And
This
that's
is Nathan Payton standing behind with that cringe.
That's not a go get him, buddy, Pat. That is a full on.
The whole front row felt that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
well, and that's Evan's coach, Adam Dirks, who was a World's Strongest Man competitor in 2018. So that's not just any old,
That's not any
small
old
friend
smack.
of his that's just giving him a smack.
Alexei Novikov now will be out at 901 pounds, 409 kilos. This is his third and final attempt.
This could be great points for Alexei.
Oh, yeah.
Massive for him.
Big pull. And without a suit.
Yeah.
Oh, pull.
there it
Yes.
is.
Go finish it.
Yes.
And Novikov has
Great
901.
Yeah.
Good lift. Good lift.
Awesome. Great job.
Stayed true to his technique the entire time.
Yep.
Pulling that flex out of the bar, being patient through that midsection. Paid off for him today.
You gotta be disciplined mentally, because on the big lifts you want your hips will fly up, and you got to just stick with your guns. Stay where
patient.
you are. Yep.
We are through now 5 men who have completed all of their lifts. Mitch Hooper, our defending champion, will be out next. He's going to go up to 906 pounds for his opening lift. We'll take another look at Alexei Novikov.
Very good. Nice. Those are huge points.
Yeah, big points.
Yeah, there's some modification in the rules. No, no tight shorts, no undergarments that can actually give you a little more advantage. Certainly no lifting suits. He's gotten a lot out of lifting suits in the past, sometimes. So
Yeah.
that's a big pull for him.
And Novikov, Singleton, and Stoltman, all our current leaders at 901 pounds. Mitch Hooper is going to try to change that in his opening lift at 906, coming in once again as the defending champion, and did it with consistency. Didn't win a single event last year.
Yeah, he's been Mr. Consistent with everything. That's his strength, is being consistent.
He doesn't have a bad event. He's analytical with each of the events, takes a really great approach to them. And that really is what has given him one of the most amazing careers that we've seen in recent history in this sport.
A magic carpet ride.
That was good for Mitch
Easy
Hooper.
lift. Nice. He's a workman at some of these events. He just knows what he's got to get, and then he turns on the gas in other places.
That's a really big confidence boost for Mitch, too, because earlier in his prep for this competition, he actually strained his groin and wasn't able to do a full-length deadlift from the floor.
Wow.
Really at all leading in this entire prep. So to come out here, open up with 906, that's got to really feel good mentally going into the next few
big
pulls.
confidence boost.
Take another look at Mitch Hooper.
Came off the ground pretty fast, actually, huh?
So
Came
smooth.
off well.
Oh. He took the flex out of the bar, and just once he got to that point, boom.
It's incredible to think that this guy has run 3 marathons.
And also a long drive champion in golf.
Yeah, well,
Yep. And a bodybuilder.
I feel sorry for that golf ball. I think probably vaporized on impact.
Well, I thought that was amazing. There used to be an Olympic lifter back in the early 70s, Fred Lowe, and late 60s up to Montreal in 76, and he would run marathons in between Olympics.
Wow.
But to be a world's strongest man and that size, because Fred was like a 165-pound lifter, this is amazing.
It's the second attempt now for Tom Stoltman, 916 pounds, 415 kilos.
Nice.
And that is good for Tom.
That looked better than the first.
I was
It
about to
did.
say that was a better deadlift than his 906. So
Why was that?
901. I think on the 901 we saw his hips come up a little bit quick halfway through the pull. It looked like a more consistent speed throughout the entire deadlift. I think he anticipated that whip, as Jerry kept saying. He anticipated that whip much better this time.
You think he set back a little more on it, too?
He's a little more patient. The first one, he yanked on it. It pulled his hips out. The bar even kind of shifted on him a little bit. That's what kind of created a little bit of that shake. So he adjusted a few things he needed to, and that one was really solid. And it's always something to be said for getting that first one out of the way. Out there on the platform, in front of the crowd, on that bar you're lifting on, it's all that kind of stuff comes to play.
We've already seen the return of the Dragon. We are about to see the return of the Mountain. Hafthor Bjornsson is going to be up next, opening up at 926 pounds.
Just massive. I mean, and I think coming in, obviously as the world record holder on this event, that's got to make him feel good coming back to competition with this being the first event he steps back onto the stage with.
Right.
Yep.
420 kilos to open up.
I think his training went so well that his confidence coming to this event is very high.
Yeah, and just like the rate at which he puts size on is just unbelievable.
It's impressive.
And looking at this crowd, everybody is standing up.
He just got such a massive frame.
To salute the Mountain, 3-time Arnold Classic champion.
He told me he's been really relaxed. What happens, happens. He knows he's done everything he can.
We talked about Mateusz's winning percentage, having won 10 of 36 events here at the Arnold Strongman Classic. Hafthor's won 12 of the 45 he's been in, so guy who can hit a ton of home runs here as well.
Well, Hafthor says what happens, happens. Hafthor's here to win.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No question about that.
Arnold Schwarzenegger looking on as Hafthor Bjornsson. First attempt, 420 kilos, 926 pounds.
Easy.
I'd say he's back.
Unbelievable.
Nice easy warm-up.
Yeah.
Game on. Let's go.
Yep.
Let's roll it.
Flip the switch and time to go. It also doesn't hurt when you have all those Icelandic men screaming at you from the sidelines.
Yeah.
Commissar.
No idea what they're saying, but it sounds motivating.
Yeah, I get jacked up for it. So.
It also kind of throws the competitors off sometimes. Years ago at a Strongman competition, and the Icelanders get around, one of the other Icelanders, everybody's like, this is like, it's like, it's not one guy, it's like 5 guys.
Yeah.
They do. They have that, their word, come on, commissar.
Well, Martins Litis is going to be up next at 936. This will be his second attempt. That's 425 kilos about. One more look at, wow, 926. No big deal for the Mountain.
You see that, and it makes sense that he holds a world record in this event.
That's like a broomstick.
That's there.
That's awesome. Very good. Wow.
I don't think I could lift that with 2 of my friends.
Yeah. Well, talking about Icelandic and a deadlift, the famous Jan Paul Sigmarsson quote, "Why be alive if you can't do the deadlift?" And then the other famous one, "Detta räcker mal för Jan Paul." Hope my Icelandic friends aren't laughing at me now. But it's no haul for John Paul. They televise powerlifting contests in the evening in Iceland.
That's amazing.
Isn't that great?
Just built into their culture.
It does.
Yeah, it really is impressive the way strength is looked at over there. It's just part of their culture.
Okay, the pace has been set. Let's see what he does.
936 from Martins, his second attempt.
Martins.
Wow.
The only man who hasn't lifted is Bobby Thompson.
That's interesting, too.
Yeah.
Bobby's feeling very confident about the deadlift today.
Yeah, he just pulled a big PR in training.
Yep.
He's feeling good. Let's go, Martins. Let's see it.
So methodical. Everything's the same every single attempt.
Everything.
Here goes the Dragon.
Oh. Finish it.
Oh, unable to get there is Martins Litzis.
He's contemplating. What do I do?
And now Martins is done at 9:36. Now he will have the option to rest and come back out and try this again.
That's if you're going to try it again, that's what I would do. I would just reach back down and try to, you know. But that was a lot of energy.
Got to a tough point of the deadlift. You know, I mean, right below the knee, especially with this bar, all that weight has just come off the ground. You're starting to feel that flex. It's starting to bounce a little bit, right? You get some shake in the bar at that point in the deadlift as well. And if it's not there to really push through that sticking point, you see what just happened, and he gets stuck.
Well, if he doesn't make that next attempt and hit that weight, he would wind up with a score of 861, which unofficially would put him in 9th place in the event.
It's a tough spot to be.
Yeah.
Well, you get it kind of stuck at the knees, and you're seeing it. We're talking about CNS again. It's, firing, and you're recruiting all those muscle fibers. You know, what's left after that? It's kind of hard.
It's a tough spot because when you get stuck there, especially if the hips rose a little bit, it's a lot of strain on the hamstrings. Yeah, that's probably where you're stuck because they just won't go anymore. And the longer you stay there, that longer that strain kind of sits in there. So it's tough to come back and get another one. Not that it can't be done, but it's tough.
Well, Litzis is going to pass on 9:36, but is going to jump up for his next lift at 9:51. That's what I'm hearing, is that's going to be his third and final attempt at 9:51, which means Mitch Hooper will be next out at 941 pounds. That's about 427 kilos. So Litzis not done yet.
I think probably Martins, being methodical the way he is, give himself a little more time. He's going up in weight, but they give himself more time to trying to follow himself back out there with just a 2-minute rest.
And I know Martins is he's a very seasoned lifter, but seeing him make an 80-pound jump between 2 attempts is a little bit interesting.
That was a really big jump.
Yeah.
Well, Mitch Hooper's going to go up 35 pounds now to 941. Hit 906 on his opening attempt. About 427 kilos here for the Moose.
970, I believe, last year. So he's probably good for this. Yeah.
And that is good for Mitch Hooper.
Easy pull.
Again, super patient once that bar came off the floor.
Yeah, he lets that thing kind of pop, waits and then lays into it.
Well, that's what we're talking about. You know, just not letting that leader get ahead of him.
Yep.
Comes out of this in 2nd place, or
in a good spot.
3rd place, he's in a great spot.
Evan Singleton will be out next. He's also going to go for 941, and we'll see how many people slap him in the back to get him fired up for this. Might have to bring a baseball bat out here.
It might actually be Ric Flair behind him next time.
We're going up a weight. We got to crank up the slap too, right?
Yeah.
Mitch Hooper, that looked a lot like his first one.
Yeah. Nice.
'23 Arnold Classic champion. And now here's the T-Rex Evan Singleton.
Gives a slap.
Here it comes.
Oh, gosh.
Echoing through the arena.
Oh, man. 941 now for the T-Rex.
Come on. Translate it. Yeah.
Nice.
Big lockout.
Finish.
And Singleton has it.
Wow. You got to love it. Oh, man.
That's huge points for Evan.
That's huge. That's
941 right now is
Going to put him in a good spot.
tied for the lead.
And this is a guy that he has good grip. He can move really well. He's got a great overhead press. If he can really control this throughout the weekend, I think he's gonna annoy a lot of the guys that thought they were gonna come in here and be on that podium.
Oh, exactly. Because he's good at carries. It's one of the things he loves. And we haven't seen him go up that ramp yet. So,
And there's a slap one more time. Oh, man.
I think we could feel it over here.
yeah.
Wow.
I mean, they did echo. We have headsets on, and I could still hear the natural sound coming in.
I wonder how his coach's hand feels after giving a slap.
I know,
like
right?
that.
if you see him in a cast tomorrow, you know what happened.
Well, Tom Stoltman is going to be out next. He's also going to go for 941. This is going to be his third and final attempt as well. This to match Singleton.
Come on, Tom. He's got it.
Good job.
Finish it.
Finish.
Oh.
Yeah, pulled his hips up at the start, just enough.
Oh, boy.
And right at that mid-knee, that's where we saw it the past 2 times, that his hips jumped up a little bit more.
Yeah.
When those hips start rising faster than the bar speed, that's where you start getting into trouble, because the shoulders stay over the bar a little bit too long.
Yeah.
You can't engage those glutes as strong as you want to get you to that lockout position.
Yeah, that's smart.
Goldman is done. His best lift will be 916 pounds. Now 4 men remain here, and we still have yet to see Bobby Thompson come.
Yeah, we still haven't seen Bobby.
Yeah.
941, the best lift that we have seen from Singleton and Hooper.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm having a good time. This is awesome. I love this.
It's a great way to start the competition.
How can you not get excited with a big deadlift, right?
Right.
You gotta love deadlift day, right?
And
We talk
Martin
about red meat.
Leitzi's is coming out next. He didn't hit 936. He's going to attempt 951. And Jerry, as you said, probably a strategy to give himself some more rest. That's 431 kilos.
Yeah, and Martins is an athlete that will pull out these kind of lifts. That you're sometimes going, what was he thinking? Going up or what? And he'll pull it off. Because it gets down to he has to have this.
I think, this is the make or break lift for him right now.
Absolutely, yeah. Because this could ruin his weekend if not.
Yeah, as we were talking earlier, you're not going to win it today, but you can put yourself in a big enough hole to where
Definitely lose it.
Yeah.
That would catapult him up. I mean,
Yeah.
no question.
Big.
Because again, right now, unofficially, if Leitzi's doesn't hit this, he's going to finish towards the bottom, probably 9th in the event.
And that bar is so weird, on the way it feels and reacts. So we can look and try to guess as much as we can, but if he felt something like, it floated this way, or if I'd have done this or adjusted that, that's where I was off. He's good. He makes those adjustments. He's
Make
good.
that change, yeah.
And make that 8th place as Maxime Boudreau, who would finish 12th. He didn't have a successful lift. Maxime has that lat injury. We're waiting to hear what his status for the rest of the competition will be. So here comes Leitzi's at 951. This is going to be it for him. 3rd and final attempt.
Let's see it. Come on, Martins.
Need this crowd to get behind him for this one. This is a big lift. Big
Everybody's on their
moment for
feet.
Martins.
Let's see it. They know he needs this.
Here goes the Dragon at 951.
There it is.
Nope.
Not going to happen.
That thing is just glued to the ground.
He just took too much out of him on that first go at it.
861 is going to be Martins Leitzi's final score, and he will have a hole to dig himself out of. Right now, 8th place in the event.
Well, Martins is good at frame carry, so I mean,
He's good at frame carry. He's great at stones.
yeah. So I mean, he can do it. He just made it more difficult on himself now.
Mitch Hooper is going to be the next man out to close out his competition, and that will leave just Hafthor Bjornsson and Bobby Thompson remaining, and Thompson has yet to lift.
Wow.
Have to wonder, is Bobby trying to play mind games with Thor a little bit?
Yeah.
Trying to see if he's going to push him for that record.
It's one of the things you can put yourself a little bit of a gamble.
Big time.
If something goes wrong in this first lift, and man, you wasted it. Always a little gamble letting it ride on one
High
lift.
risk, big reward.
Yep.
Hooper getting ready for 951 here. His final attempt, 431 kilos. Thompson's going to be out next at 461, and then Hafthor will be after that at 1,006. And here goes the Moose at 951, and that is Good.
Yes. There we go.
I love how Mitch is playing this. He sees what the other guys are doing. He knows what he has to do throughout the weekend, and he's doing just enough to put in some good work, get himself some good points, and secure his spot near the top of the leaderboard.
Sometimes really good professional strongman looks a little boring, and it's that game. It's that you're playing the game in the game.
But worse, he's going to finish third right now.
Well, yeah, he's got himself as many points as he can possibly here. You know, if he knows, why chase Thor? Let him have it. You know, why chase Bobby? Let him have it. I'll take third and be happy here.
Yep, and that's after, you know, you were saying he was having a little bit of an issue. So if he can actually stretch it out a little bit, and, you know, third place is not a bad result.
Well, for him to come in and deadlift 951 pounds on the event he was most concerned about his performance on, I'd say he's setting himself up pretty good for the rest of the weekend.
And here comes Bobby Thompson for the first time. He's going to open up at 961 pounds, 435 kilos for the American Nightmare, who finished on the podium here the last two times he has been at the Arnold Strongman Classic. Third place in 2023 and in 2022.
This is a big opener. As being just a few weeks ago, he posted he did like a 950 raw PR.
This is a big deadlift.
So to go 11 pounds over that for an opener. That's
and that is good for Thompson.
good.
Here we go.
The race is on.
Okay, so is he going to watch Hafthor take an attempt, or is he going to?
I mean, it's going to depend on how that felt for him. Right?
Yeah.
You know, we have to realize that's going to be at least a 45-pound jump for him to match Hafthor.
Right. And I think he finished last year at 985 for the win.
Yep.
Yeah, 980.
980 for the win. So this is, you know, he's pushing top shelf for himself.
Hafthor Bjornsson and Bobby Thompson are the two men remaining. Hafthor is getting set to make his second attempt. 1,006 pounds, 456 kilos for the mount.
First time we've seen over 1,000-pound deadlift here at the Arnold in a couple of years, so this is going to be exciting.
Since Hafthor did it in 2020.
Since 20.
Yeah. I mean, it was a solid lift, but it didn't look like it jumped off the ground. But
I don't know that he's got 40 pounds more.
Definitely not as convincing as Hafthor's first pull.
no.
I think anytime anybody lifts that much weight, you, regardless of how it goes up, you just say good lift.
I say great
That was a
lift.
great lift. But if you're looking, that's an opener. So if you're looking at, you know, second and thirds, yeah, I don't know how much more he's got.
Bobby Thompson is done. So he's going to.
I was just going to say that.
961.
Secure second place.
And at the very
One lift.
worst, he's going to do second place.
Yeah.
So now Hafthor is going to come out and lift for the win.
Right. Give everybody, we talk, you know, I like to use this term, like red meat. The crowd just goes crazy, you know. They want to see 1,000 pounds. It's just special. Just special. Every time you see it, you go like, wow.
This is another one that's a big gamble, though, because
He didn't need this.
he doesn't need it.
Yeah, and all the energy he's putting into it.
He only needs 965.
Yeah.
You know?
And all this energy he puts into it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he just had this, you know, knowing Hafthor, he's just got this number in his head, and he just says, I'm good for it. I'm just going to go out and do it.
And you could just see how calm he is out on the floor before deadlifting, about to deadlift 1,000 pounds.
Well, he's so confident from what his training's been that, you know,
Yeah.
that this is going to happen easily.
He knows it's there.
If he hits it, it would be his 13th career event win here out of 46.
Events. That means he's been here a long time.
Making his 10th appearance.
Amazing.
Now lifting for the win in his return to the Arnold Strongman Classic. 1,006 pounds.
Look at that crowd.
The
Even
bar.
Arnold's on his feet right now.
456 kilos for the mountain.
I have a feeling this is going to be pretty convincing.
Yeah.
This is gonna be easy lift.
Based on the last lift, I mean, this is, it looks pretty good.
For the win. What else did you expect? Hafthor Bjornsson is back.
You know, as somebody that's still competing, I'm still such a fan of this sport. And to be able to watch that is so cool.
Anybody that doubted it,
That was.
This feels amazing to do this here in front of you guys. You guys are awesome. I just want to say before I leave, Kelsey, Morgan Hansen, my wife, Stormen Magne, Tessa Liv, I love you guys.
The mountain is back! Your winner in the elephant bar deadlift!
Absolutely amazing.
That's great.
We still have 4 events remaining, and if they are half as entertaining as that, this is going to be
Amazing.
one to remember.
amazing start. Amazing start to the day.
I think looking at this lineup, I think this is exactly what we were expecting from this competition this weekend,
Yeah.
though.
Right.
But how
Huge,
about
huge
Bobby
lifts.
Thompson, who finishes second with just 1 lift?
Hey, great strategy for him, right?
Saved a lot of energy.
One lift, he goes into the frame nice and fresh. He's going to feel better tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and I think he knows, you know, we have an event today that hasn't typically played to his strengths. While he's a great deadlifter, this event has plagued him in the past.
Yeah.
So, as you both mentioned, you know, saving some of that energy, hitting a number he knows he can get that's going to get him good points on the leaderboard.
Right.
Going into an event where he'll go, you know, kind of far down on the list of competitors, you know, in the ranking. I think it was a smart play by him to only do that 1 rep and then come out later today for the frame carry.
Hafthor Bjornsson, 1,006 pounds, picks up the event win, the 13th of his career here at the Arnold Strongman Classic. Bobby Thompson is going to finish second unofficially, and then Mitch Hooper, just doing what Mitch Hooper does, looking like he's going to wind up with a 3rd.
Just a statement of consistency across his entire career.
But probably the biggest surprise, Martins Lietzi's at 861.
That's the biggest surprise of the day. I mean, we knew Martins wouldn't be up probably in the top maybe 2 at deadlift, but definitely thought he'd be top 5.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a big shock.
And these are all unofficial right now, but it looks like Lietzi's will finish in 8th place
But
in the event.
that puts Mateus even better.
It does.
Yeah.
That helps Mateus out even more. That's another point that we didn't expect.
Again, unofficial here. Mitchell Hooper, as we mentioned, in 3rd. Mateusz Kiloszkowski's going to take 9th. And Lietzi's down there in 8th place.
Oh, I didn't quite get Leeds.
And Alexei Novikov in 6th, too, a great result for him.
Wouldn't have called that one.
Just also amazing to look at leaderboard and realize a 900-pound deadlift only gets you 6th place at the Arnold Strongman Classic.
Ouch.
816 got him 10th.
What we're waiting on here, and why everybody is still seated, well, standing, is that Hafthor Bjornsson still has another lift. He could take another lift.
That
Yeah,
world record might be looking pretty good today.
Yeah, I mean, he pulled that really well. I mean, does he have a legitimate shot? Does he? But what would that gain him? He's back to compete. You know, the crowd's chanting for it.
How much he wants to have that, to break that world record again, you know? What's more important, the overall or that record, you know?
You know, I think he's already cemented himself as one of the best deadlifters in history.
Really, really would like to break my world record today, but I feel like the smartest move is to just call this right now.
Absolutely. Win the whole thing.
You know, I'm looking at the big picture. I wanna win this competition. I wanna go out of this competition injury free. That's my goal.
Veteran move.
But I just wanna thank you guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much.
Well, he is back. The mountain is back. He's already won the first competition. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to reset. When we come back, it'll be the timber carry with the women. But one more time for the men.
Discretion is the better part of valor, and Hathor Bjornsson deciding that I've already got the win. No need to push this thing. But look, the way that he was lifting, there was a realistic chance of him breaking that if you put that weight on the bar.
No question. I think he really, he had a shot, but what would he really gain from it? I mean, there's not a cash prize on a big lift like that, like sometimes in the past. And also, I guess the other bigger one is like, save your energy. What would you do?
Save your energy, but also he's not going to get any more points on the leaderboard.
Yeah.
You know, that 1,006 got him first place. Whether he breaks the world record or not, he's still going to get first place. So why throw an extra 20 to 30 pounds on that bar to break a world record? Well, yes, records are great. I like his move on saving his energy, going into the timber carry, saving his energy for the rest of the week to try to come back after, this being his first competition back in a few years. To push for that win is something really impressive that we don't see too often.
That would be really impressive for him to take that time off and then come back at the biggest stage in the sport and win the whole thing. We still have a lot that needs to happen between now and then, though, but Hathor Bjornsson starts off with an event win, and we will get to talk to him during the women's frame carry event that kicks off here in about 35 minutes. So event number 2 coming up a little bit later. It is the frame carry, but so far, other than Martins Licis, I think, with a surprise there on the deadlift, things playing out more or less as we expected on the men's side.
Yeah, I think so. It aside from, maybe Martins, as you said, we knew Hathor was going to have a big pull. We knew Bobby would be right up there. And then Mitchell Hooper does what he does. Yeah. He doesn't let the pack get away from him. He stays right in there. This is going to be what's the next event going to be? What's the next event going to be? How's he going to play that out? But then there's Mateusz. Mateusz had that, a pretty good result for him, actually. And there's some slippery points inside of that because Martins is going to roar back and, climb past a lot of those guys in this next event. And then he'll, drag Mateusz right up with him. So I think this is a little more open than it looks for him.
I think this is the fun part about Strongman at this level, too, because we start to see how much of a game it really is. We saw it with the jockeying for position on the deadlift, but now going to the next few events, looking at the strengths and weaknesses of each of these athletes on the leaderboard. We got guys like Evan Singleton, who we've consistently seen great grip from in competitions, but he's never done this frame carry, never gone up this ramp. So what does that mean for him? Is he able to overcome that, or where does it put him on the leaderboard? A lot of these guys have experience on this event, but again, starting off the show with a max deadlift, a lot can happen physically, emotionally. There's a lot that plays into it to how they're going to feel going into this frame carry. Because essentially, again, this frame carry is it's a big deadlift, right? It's another deadlift that we're going 2 back-to-back heavy carries in. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
And you saw Mateusz down there in 9th place, but this next event is one that he can absolutely crush. And a lot of guys in front of him, they're not looking forward to that.
No, it's going to shake up things a lot, because we look for Mateusz to potentially win it. Like Rob was saying, not traditionally a great event for Bobby, so Bobby could be, they could swap. Martins is usually pretty good at frame, so that can move him back up. So we're going to see some shifting around here. And then we got wild cards like Evan. Yeah. Evan, we don't know what's going to do on this.
Got to get yourself in position here after these 2 events to have a chance on Sunday. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, action will resume with the women's competition, the frame carry, coming up in a little bit. Rob, thanks so much for hanging out. It's always a pleasure having you up here.
Thank you.
So take a break. We'll come right back here in about 30 minutes and get you set for event number 2, the frame carry, as our coverage of the Arnold Strongman Classic continues.